Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I am drawing on this piece of wood with my Posca pens. I bought a few of them recently, and in one of my previous videos I actually drew on it with color pencils, but I was really excited to try and see what I can do with my Posca pens because those are a recent addition that I've gotten, which I am pretty much obsessed with. So before I actually dive into the Posca pens, I want to seal this piece of wood because I want the best surface for me to paint on with the paints, because they're basically acrylic paints. So I'm going to give this thing a few coats of Gesso, which is one of my favorite primers to use. I'm actually using a new one that I got recently, and it is a Liquitex Gesso, and I have to say this is probably the best Gesso that I've ever used. I'm pretty happy with it. Now previously in my other videos where I've drawn on wood, I didn't actually gesso it. I felt like I really liked the look of that sort of wood texture, and of course with dry mediums like pencils and stuff you really don't have to gesso it as well. But for this one I felt like it would just improve the results. So why not? So beginning off this painting, I'm actually going in with my colored pencils now, and this is just to add a nice little sketch because I don't really feel confident going in with the pens straight up. I kind of want a nice sketch that will be a nice basis for my drawing. So today I'm drawing a cat because cats are one of my absolute favorite animals, and I love cats. I have cats myself. And I've been really inspired lately to try and do a almost semi-realistic painting of a cat. I didn't want to make it too realistic though, because I still really like that cartoony feel, and I really love the sort of block color style that you can get with the Posca pens. To make it a little bit more interesting, I gave this kitty a flower crown. Now I actually based this off the flower crown that a Pokemon called Eevee wears sometimes in the show, and I really wanted to do it based off that flower crown that Eevee wears because it is just so cute, and I love that it has two different size flowers on it. So now I'm starting off with the background color, mainly because I want to add that background color in first. And this is because I feel like I'm going to go over it a lot with sort of textures and shapes for the cat. So I really want that background to be the first sort of basis of my illustration. Now I'm just going in with a soft light blue color. I felt that that would work really well, especially since with this cat I'm planning on painting with many sort of warm colors and bright colors. So I want that blue color to look different to the cat and make that cat stand out really nice. So I'm going in first with the eyes of the cat because I feel like when I draw animals, the eyes are the first thing that I actually look at when I look at an animal, and I find those to be a really important detail for, you know, portraits and stuff like that. So I might as well go in and do that first so that if I stuff it up at all, I can easily start over. Now for the colours of the cat, I actually decided before I even started this drawing that I wanted to draw a Calico Cat. I've never actually drawn a Calico Cat before that I can remember anyways, and yeah, I really love the look of Calico Cats. I just think that they're really pretty, and I love how the colours on them just have so much contrast with that bright orange colour and then the black or brown over it as well. And they always end up with really interesting patterns because of the difference in the orange, the white and the black. So with this drawing I used a lot of layers actually because I had to sort of experiment a little bit with that pattern on the cat. I did have a few colours that I could use, but I wasn't exactly sure where to put which colour. So yeah, I started off with a really sort of light creamy orange colour, and I also used a sort of bright orange colour as well. And that was going to be my basis for the ginger markings on this cat. After this I went in with some black just to sort of solidify where each patterns was going to be, and then after this I just went around to the eyes and other details, just pushing in little details and colours here where I could. I used a very soft pink for the nose, mouth and ears, but for the mouth I ended up going over that later with a little bit more dark colours. And then after this, I went over the sort of ginger patterns with a few more sort of beigey sort of soft colors to try and add a little bit more detail and highlights where I could. Now I'm actually really lucky in the fact that I bought this big set of Posca pens because it came with a large amount of oranges and sort of beiges and ivories and just like light warm colors, and I decided to use all of them for my sort of cat drawing just to sort of get all of those different tones in there, and I really like how I got all of those colors in, but it turned out really cool. Another thing that I did that I actually ended up really liking as well is that I used that sort of really soft ivory color, which is just a really warm white color that isn't exactly perfect white. It's kind of an off-white, and I went over all of the areas where the white patterns on the cat were going to be. Now I know it is a little bit too yellowy and orangey, but that's okay because I planned ahead, and after that I went back over with some white, which was going to really help for me to control where I put all of the highlights and stuff on the white fur. Now with these paints, I decided that I really like the sort of color block texture and pretty much no blending. Now I know with these markers it is possible to blend with them as long as you keep the paint wet while you're blending first, but I feel like every time I do that I don't know, I kind of really like the satisfying look of the color sort of block colors with these pens. You can really get some smooth, seamless color areas with these pens, and I absolutely love it. I'm living for it, and I really love that sort of color block style where it's like just plain colors in different areas, and yeah, I think it looks really cool. The only thing I really didn't like is that I had to wait after every layer was dry before I could go over the top. Now that's pretty normal with paints, however I'm the type of person who is really used to colored pencils and things like Copic markers, which dry pretty much instantly, so when I have to wait for something to dry it just makes me so impatient. But these pens are definitely worth it to wait for them to dry because they just layer over really nicely and extremely opaque. I was especially satisfied when I started adding the sort of scribbly fur texture where the black areas of the fur were, because that really helped to sort of just transition from one color to the next and give this kitty cat a bit of a furry sort of look, as if like, you know, they have fur because, you know, cats have fur. But yeah, slowly, layer by layer, I kept adding more highlights and details here and there. Every time I added a detail which I didn't like, that was completely fine because I could just cover it up in the next layer. And overall, I'm just super happy with the way the cat's turning out. I did try to use my really thin Posca pen to do some of the details and some of the texture, but I don't know, I feel like that really thin one sort of clogs up a little bit, and sometimes I'm not able to sort of properly layer over color with the really thin Posca pens, but it wasn't overly an issue because I had a lot of fun using the sort of thick 5M nibs. Now it's time to go on to the flower crown, and this is one of my favorite parts of the illustration because the way it all came together just helped finish the artwork beautifully. Now I actually went in with pretty much all warm colors. I wanted to keep with this color theme where the cat was mostly all warm colors and then the background was nice and cool. I just felt like it really helped it sort of set the cat off from the background and kept a lot of balance in this artwork actually. Now with these I decided to go with some soft yellow colors and then a sort of pinky purpley color for the other flowers. Now with these yellow ones I did a light pink sort of inner pattern, and then on the pink flowers I actually went in and I added a bit of a purple shadow to that. So for the background, I felt like it wasn't as detailed as I liked, and I wanted to add something into the background just to make it a little bit more interesting. So I went in with a sort of lighter sort of aqua color and I drew some little fish bones all over it. Now overall, I wasn't overly happy with how the fish bones turned out. I felt like it added a little bit too much detail, a little bit too much busyness in the background. So I ended up sending some pictures of it to my boyfriend and asking if I should paint over them with the blue again, but he said keep them because it looks nice and it adds a bit of detail that looks good, so I decided to keep them. After this, I added some highlights to that flower crown because those areas were finally dry and I could go over them again. So I used lighter versions of the colors that they already were. So I used a really sort of pale ivory sort of yellow color for the yellow flowers, and then obviously a pale pink for the pink flowers. And as you can see, I went over those dark shadows in the pink flowers with a sort of lighter, softer, more purple color. And I did that because I didn't really like the really dark shadows in those pink flowers. I felt like it sort of wrecked the sort of pastel aesthetic that they had, and I didn't want it to be too intense and draw the attention away from the cat. And now I'm adding a gold outline around the trim of this piece of wood. I really wanted to add gold around the outside. While drawing it, I kind of felt like gold might ruin the sort of color palette, but after I added all of those warm details onto the cat, I felt like gold really did fit and look nice. Now this was somewhat inspired loosely by Mira Byler's paintings because she has done some on wood similar, and she did a gold trim around the outside, and I just fell in love with the look. I really liked it. Now it's time to just add some final details with some white. I added some little wet patches on the nose and whiskers as well, because you have to have whiskers on a cat, as well as just some slight highlights here and there, and we are done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was super fun to make and I love the final results. This cat is so pretty and I honestly love this artwork so much. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button to tell YouTube that this was a good video, and hit that subscribe button too if you haven't already. And hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.